Hare Krishna, everybody. Let's take the blessings of Lord Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, Gaurangi, Bangalore, Ishwara, Lakshmi Narsimha, Gaurnitai, Che Goswami, and the Guru Parampara. Om Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prishtaya, Bhutana Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinami, Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauramani Pachani, Nirbhishesha Shunyavati, Paishete Shatani. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Bhutana Bhakti Swami Tinami Namacharya Padayanta Kipana Gopita Dham Dai Nagar Gram. So we are in the 7th chapter. This chapter particularly explains how one can become a fully Krishna conscious person. And when the concluding verse, the 30th verse, Sadhu bhutadi devam sadhi yagnachaya vidhu pranaya kale api chamate vidura yuktasa chetasaha. Those in full consciousness of me who know me, the Supreme Lord, to be the governing principle of material manifestation of the demigod and of all the methods of sacrifice, can understand and know me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even at the time of death. Hare Krishna. Prabhu, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Hare Krishna?
Yes.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Sorry. My Guru Maharaj says, Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, if one also chants, it is called Bhakti Yoga. If one does work but has no attachment, it is called Karam Yoga. If one meditates on all pervasive forms of the Lord, it is called Astanga Yoga. If one thinks about the Lord through the passage in the Shastras, that is called Jnana Yoga. The most direct and powerful yoga is Bhakti Yoga. We would like all of you to be in Bhakti Yogis. Bhakti Yoga is not difficult to perform, but one has to be sincere. So one does Bhakti Yoga all day, all night. In this way, we are always attached with the absolute truth. If you want to be spiritual, to practice yoga, to be a religious or simply a good person, you have to follow the path that leads to dry grass. You ask, what with the spark? Well, let me retell the example Srila Prabhupada gave. Imagine a fire and sparks coming out of it. If the spark falls in a nearby pond, it will extinguish. If it falls on a slightly wet grass, it would either blaze or be extinguished. 50-50. But if the spark falls on dried grass, it will flare up into a fire of its own. Similarly, we are originally in the fire of spirituality, but somehow we have fallen out of our original nature. Now, like the spark of fire, we can take the path that leads to water, which is a life of intoxication, sleep, and laziness, a life of little or no meaning. In that case, our inclination to spirituality will be extinguished. We are lost, or we can follow the path to wet grass, which is the life of passion, endless desire, and deep-seated attachment. It is a life of intense struggle, which could or could not redirect us to a spiritual nature. But the part of spark that falls on dry grass is a life of self-control, spiritual interest, and timeless values, a life of goodness, a life of which quickly leads us back to our spiritual nature. So the choice is yours. Which path you will follow, or rather, which lifestyle will you choose? That is your free will. And Free will allows you to change your destiny. Prosperity comes by the pleasure of Krishna, not by calculation. Duryodhana did all the calculation, but failed. Arjuna just surrendered to Krishna and won. Nalgriva and Manigriva had all favorable devotional opportunity. They were associates of Rudra, sons of Kubera, residents of Kailash, fortunate enough to bathe in the Mandakini. What did they choose? Wasted favorable opportunity. They drank liquor and womanized. They were cursed to the lowest form of species, trees. If we get the opportunity to visit the temple and satsang, and then we get the opportunity to practice Krishna consciousness in our own lives, it's the greatest fortune. Human life is rare. Rarer still is the association of devotees. And still rarest is the association of a pure devotee, an opportunity to practice the process, to be in the parampara. Bhagavad Gita begins with dharma, ends with the word mama. Mama dharma, my constitutional duty to go back to Godhead. Have you seen a bunch of gas balloons when released? They traverse the air, fly high. The external does not matter. Color, red, blue, green, striped, size, shape, nothing matters. That which is internal matters. Yes, you have to connect the Paramatma with the super soul. Caste, color, creed, nothing matters. Bhakti matters. Kapi Dvaja refers to Hanumanji, who is in the flag of Arjuna's Ratha. So when Hanumanji destroyed Lanka, burnt Lanka, finally comes and takes the blessings of Sita Devi, offers obeisances to Sita Devi. Sita Devi glorifies Hanumanji and says, nobody could have performed the seva of jumping across the ocean and coming here. You are the only one who could have done it, Hanumanji. And even my husband, Ram, I don't think so could have done it. Even Lakshman could have not done it. Even Garuda could have not done it, I'm sure. Well, if somebody glorifies like this, in the conditional state of life, it affects us. And we actually start believing it. We feel good about it. But for social reason, externally, we may say, no, no, no. But internally, the mind says, at last, someone has understood my glories. I'm wondering why nobody is recording it. But Hanumanji, how did he respond? He says, actually, Sitama, this entire army of Sugriva, there is not a single soldier who is inferior to me. They are all equal or superior to me. And then someone will think this is a little too much. He's speaking artificially. No. Hanumanji says, actually, in a typical situation, who is sent as a messenger? Most powerful persons are never sent as messengers, errand boys. So I'm just a messenger, as I'm not one of the prominent person in the army. So if a messenger could create so much of havoc, can you imagine the real generals come, what will happen? So the interesting thing is, Hanumanji is the hero of the battle of Lanka in Ramayana. Suddenly, from being the hero in the battlefield of Lanka, now when the Lord comes as Krishna, he decides to make Arjun the hero and tells Hanumanji, you sit on the flag. Just imagine ourselves in that situation. Being the most prominent frontline persons, you are suddenly told, just sit. What is your role? Glorify whoever is performing well. So many people will go through identity crisis. People will go through identity crisis. So Hanumanji was suddenly put on the flag, and right in front of him, he sees Arjuna bewildered. He did not get down and say, Krishna, I told you, don't try to new people. It will not work. Make me the hero of the Kurukshetra war. No. He doesn't say, ours is a tried and tested formula. Don't make any changes. So one of the greatest cause of fear which conditional soul experience is change. Nothing causes more anxiety and trauma and fear within a person's heart than the aspect of change. So Hanumanji, who was not attached to a specific service activity, he was attached to being a servant. So the attitude of the servant is more important than a specific detail of activities. So from Hanumanji's perspective, he is told to sit on the flag and support. For him, that was perfect. This is bhakti, surrender without question. In India, we see Hanumanji's photo in gyms. It is easy to be muscular, powerful, but to be powerful in one's humility, very difficult. So Hanumanji's real power is his humility, his unflinching bhakti. Selflessness is humility. Humility and freedom go hand in hand. Only a humble person can be free. Humility without compromising your belief. Before coming to Krishna consciousness, when anyone goes to the temple, what do they pray to all the demigods, devtas, lordship? Increase my sampati, decrease my vipati. What is described here in the Bhagavad Gita is whether there is sampati or vipati, continue to pray. Serve the Lord in all situations. Arjuna is facing anxiety. It's not a moral crisis, moral facing immoral, but is facing an ethical crisis, which is very difficult, right? Which is one moral choice facing another moral choice. Kul dharma and Kshatriya dharma are the two dharmas. Kul dharma protects the family members. Kshatriya dharma fight the aggressive. But what do you do when the aggressors are family members? Dilemma, Arjuna, is identity crisis, overwhelmed with grief, places in Dandiva down, accepts defeat. Bhagavad Gita reveals the internal enemy needs to be conquered first. The inner turmoil made Arjuna do what no other enemy could have made him do. Duryodhan, Dushashan, or even Bhishma could never threaten Arjuna to make him put down his bow. Arjuna now has to seek shelter. That seems that the most powerful warrior needs support and help from others. Krishna. Arjuna, the chastiser of the enemy, succumbs to his internal enemy, seeks shelter of the Supreme, connects to the Supreme. We need to win the inner war, conquer the inner insecurity and anarthas, and surrender to the Supreme. Get attached to Guru, Sadhu, Satsang. Arjuna seeks shelter of Krishna. In one's vipati, when we remember Madhusudan, it becomes sampati, attachment to Krishna. That is bhakti yoga. Okay, now let me tell you a story. This is the story of King Janaka. A beautiful story. King Janaka was the father of Sita Devi, the mother of the universe. A soul got the opportunity to be the father. How elevated was King Janaka? He is called Vedahi Raj, that king who has no perception of his body. His sadhana at that stage that if he puts his hand in fire, he will not come to know that it is burning. That is why he is called Vedahi Raj. The story goes that two pandits in his kingdom started discussing. One person said, our king is called Vedahi Raj. How can he be Vedahi Raj in the middle of so much of opulence? Look at the palace ceilings. Look at the beautiful queens and children. People just create such titles for nothing. So the second Pandit said, let's go and ask him how he's called Vedahi Raj. The first one said, it's very dangerous. These kings are whimsical. They can give any instructions at any time. No, let's, said the learned scholar. We will do no harm. The second one convinced the first Pandit, and they went and approached the King Janaka. They said, Maharaj, we are scholars in your kingdom, but we don't have that. We doubt that has arisen. You are famous as the king who is beyond the body, who has no attachment even to the atom of this material creation, and whose mind is in the supreme. Can you please tell us, in the middle of all this opulence, how can you remain Vedahi Raj? Janak Maharaj heard them. He lifted his eyebrows and frowned and said, you have the impudence to ask the king how he is Vedahi Raj? You have vanquished all your rights as citizens. You will have to pay for this. The two Pandits started trembling. King of yours, their powers were endless. What will the punishment mete out to be? The king said, I'm going to get both hanged tomorrow. But today you can enjoy. He instructed his servants to take them away, give them an oil massage, dress them in regal attire, and put on the most attractive ornaments, give them a sumptuous feast, chop and bob, and put them to sleep in the softest of the beds. The two Pandits got the treatment of their life, but they were in no mood to relish it at all night. They were in the double bed. The first one started telling the second one, I told you, don't be foolish, how foolish it was to listen to you. We are both as good as dead now. Next morning, when they were brought to the court, Janaka said, I have decided to give you one chance. For respite, you will take it. Yes, Your Honor. What is it? You both will be handed cups of oil filled with to the brim. You will have to walk around my kingdom, my capital, Janakpuri. If you can make it back without a single drop falling from the cup, I will forgive you. The two Pandits went out with a cup of oil, passed by drama halls, but they were not attracted to the drama halls because the oil should not fall. There were different kinds of shops. Their favorite sweet shops, their favorite cloth shops, but nothing was pulling their minds. Finally, they made it back without the oil with the oil intact in the two cups. King Janak said, you have done it. All right, then you are forgiven. You will not be hanged. The Pandit says, thank you, Maharaj. We are so indebted to you for your kindness. Well, Janak Maharaj said, I have a question to ask. Last night, you had received such wonderful luxury and opulence to enjoy. Did your mind get tempted by them? They said, no, Maharaj, absolutely not. Death was meandering over our head. We knew in the morning that we will be hanged. All right, today you were made to walk around Janakpuri. Did your mind go to the various gratification of the senses available in the market? Maharaj, where was the question of it? We had to retain the oils in the cup. Janak Maharaj said, look, it was the same world, and yet you were detached from all the objects of enjoyment and luxury because your mind realized that at this moment, something is more important. If we are not careful, we will die. Janak said, in the same way, you asked me that in the midst of opulence, how do I remain Vedahi? The answer is simple. I just remember my death. Any day can be the last. This precious human life can just be wasted away. Every moment is valuable. I must put it to goodness. And the best use is Hari Chintan, remembrance of the God. By keeping the proper knowledge in my mind, I sustain my state of detachment from the world. That then is the key to inspiration. You don't depend on the external, you tap into the internal fuel of your motivation, and that depends on you. Keep the good knowledge which you have received from Krishna, Guru, and Shastra in your mind. Revise it over and over again. Become convinced about it, and then let the mind align its sentiments with your knowledge. This is Krishna consciousness. This is Bhakti Yoga. So start chanting, start. I can chant, I will chant, I love to chant. Have you seen a bonfire? All the logs in it burn. If you remove a log, it invariably, most of the time, blazes out. It's difficult to keep burning. Similarly, please do not leave association. Chant together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this ends the 7th chapter. From tomorrow, we will be in the 8th chapter. Thank you, Prabhus and Matajis.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you very
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Nice story.
Hare
Nice
Krishna.
story. Dandavat pranam.
Dandavat pranam, everybody. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Very
Hare
nice
Krishna.
class. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
The story was so nice. Thank you very much. Very instructive.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining. Hare Krishna. Please keep joining us every day morning for daily English Gita. Every day we'll be doing one verse, explanation 15 minutes only. A great way to start our day. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.